This video doesn't have a script. There's no microphone audio. This whole thing's probably not going to sound very good. But I really want to talk about the new Zach Bryan song that just recently came out. Zach Bryan, country singer, just recently released his song Bad News, which is a song that's been purported to be a protest song against ICE. On paper, this is an extremely good thing. It's extremely rare for a country artist, especially one nearly as big as him, to be making a statement like this, to be making any sort of statement about America that doesn't fall into just pure jingoism. And I've seen the song get quite a bit of praise. It's got a lot of praise from people who are talking about how he's the only one brave enough in country music to speak out about it. This song is kind of the first mainstream protest song we've had in a little while at this point. And so I want to give it credit. I wish that I could say that I felt the same way. I don't like feeling like a contrarian here, but I don't think it's a contrarian thing to say that this song is an extremely milquetoast centrist viewpoint on left and right-wing politics, and I don't think it's nearly as good as many people are purporting it to be. The song is clearly modeling itself off of one of Zach Bryan's biggest inspirations, Bruce Springsteen. He had a song with Bruce Springsteen on his last album that was actually very good. And also he straight up mentions Bruce Springsteen in this song by saying the boss stopped playing, the rock stopped rolling. However, the thing is, I don't think that he is operating at the same level Springsteen was, because Springsteen had guts. Springsteen was willing to say things that would piss people off. Springsteen was willing to talk about how the American dream is romanticized and not perfect in spite of his extreme amount of patriotism. Bruce Springsteen is someone who had values. Zach Bryan is someone who I'm not sure if he knows what he believes politically, which is not uncommon. I think a lot of people have political beliefs that objectively oppose each other, and yet they believe both anyway somehow, or at least they think they believe one in spite of acting in a certain way. I don't think that's necessarily a weird thing for an average person to have. It is not a good thing whatsoever for someone writing a song about politics to have. All of the focus has went to the one line in this song, and ICE is gonna come bust down your door, which, you know, it's good to see someone talking about ICE as being a bad thing. That's obviously nice to see, especially in country music. However, at the same time, the next verse has lines about how the red's too red and the left's too woke. Notice how he's able to point out something specifically wrong with the right wing, but he just vaguely says the left's too woke. It's this sort of centrist mentality where both sides are on equal levels of the playing field, when the right wing in America is historically way, way further to the right and has pushed the Overton window extremely far to the right, whereas the left wing, in our case the Democratic Party, is virtually just a Republican light party. There's virtually no difference in what they want for long-term solutions. But again, these two statements, that the right is too right and the left is too woke, are showed as equals. He's presenting them as if both of them are true, and they aren't. This isn't me trying to virtue signal or whatever the hell. They just objectively are not. And he seems to chalk this divide up to the reason why America is falling apart, without ever properly considering why the divide might be happening. The ICE line is further undercut by the chorus of the song, which says, "Is it all true, man, or is it just bad news?" But he doesn't dig into that. It's just a statement. There's nothing there that's really interesting. There's no analyzation of how his own views are affected by the news around him. It just kind of is there as a way of saying, well, I don't know, maybe it's true, which it is. I think a lot of this song has to do with Zach Bryan's admittedly very centrist and at times barstool sports coded politics that I've heard him talk about in real life. I don't think he's the worst guy in the world politically. I remember seeing him talk about how country musicians were being too transphobic and they need to stop talking bad about transgender people. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a nice statement of support, and I'm glad he did that. But he seems so unwilling to really say anything that might alienate the more right-wing sides of his fans, that he does these so-called protest songs that virtually say absolutely nothing. This sort of thing about how both sides are bad helps nobody. It is not a helpful political critique. It does not work as protest music. What are you protesting? And it's unfortunate. I think a country song about ICE during this time period that was a truly unflinching look at the topic would actually be extremely interesting and extremely necessary. I remember enjoying Jesse Wells' recent song, Join ICE, which is more of a folk song, but I do think it has that sort of protest song energy that this song really doesn't have, because that song has a viewpoint. It has something to say. Low-key, I think Tyler Childers, who made the song Long Violent History during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests, has a better protest song than Zach Bryan here, and one that's honestly low-key more relevant still to the current topic. Look, I don't want to act like I think Zach Bryan needs to parrot my exact political beliefs, or he needs to say everything that is happening exactly the way I think it is happening. He's a musician. If he wants to write about how his patriotism that felt undying beforehand is being questioned now, he can do that. But the thing is that he doesn't really want to do that, because that would imply that he's somewhat questioning his patriotism, which it doesn't feel like he is on this song. I remember when this song was being teased and people were really excited about it, and how he was actually finally doing some music about how ICE is terrible, and then he made a statement basically immediately after and was like, you don't know that. The song, it's about both sides. It's about both sides. You don't know that. And yeah, that is what I'm hearing here. I am hearing a song about both sides that seemingly has no understanding of either side. And it's frustrating seeing an artist who I think has a lot of potential and has made some very good music, I'm a big fan of his self-titled album personally, fall down this hole of just not growing whatsoever because he just wants to stick with his previous comfortable beliefs. I can understand to some extent why this song is being looked at positively right now. It's a really hard time, and having any sort of protest music feels extremely necessary. But I don't think this song is going to age well. I think this song is going to age as just another artifact of an era in which we could have done something but did not. Anyway, that's the end of the Daily Woke Minute. I'm gonna go...